Hello everyone, my name is MANIARASU Munyandy and I'm excited to share my view in this conference. Allow me to share my file. So as you can see from my sharing, my paper for today is Emotional Intelligence on Leadership Effectiveness and the mediating role of leadership self-efficacy. So I'm presenting for this paper as part of the requirement for my PhD submission, PhD viva. My university is requiring us to present the paper in an international conference. I am a PhD student in Putra Business School, and Prof. Rosli is the main supervisor, and Associate Professor Dr. Devika is my co-supervisor. So as you can see here, so the background of the study, right? Why I'm doing this study is because Malaysia, electronic sector is the key for Malaysia's GDP, right? It's manufacturing sector, electronic manufacturing sector, which is in the study that I'm taking in this sector. The gross export is estimated about 40% of the total export of Malaysia, according to the Bank Negara Malaysia in a recent 2025. It's a huge percentage. However, we face fierce competition for this particular sector from our competitors, neighboring countries, primarily, for example, Vietnam, and other countries as well. So Malaysia continue to face the challenge to maintain its competitive position, right? Not only global market, but also in ASEAN countries as well. So while technological infrastructure is important for us to maintain the competitive advantage, the non-technical requirement is also key to ensure competitive advantage as well. So that when we say the non-technical imperative, it encompasses the ability for leaders to effectively manage the organizational culture, human resources, human capital development, knowledge management system, and strategic agility. So all these are encompassed as the leadership requirement, right? Leadership effectiveness. And on the other way, on the other spectrum, if poor leadership will impact burnout, absenteeism, and safety issues as well. So in a nutshell, so ineffective leader, right, will causes burnout, absenteeism, and safety issues. And therefore, Malaysia's electronic sector will lose the market competitiveness. So therefore, the background of the study is we want to understand factors that's influencing leadership effectiveness. There are two different key factors that's been studied vastly, which is one is emotional intelligence, and the second one is leadership self-efficacy. These variables are key to determine leadership effectiveness, and therefore we are further further, we are trying to understand more about the same similar situation of emotional intelligence and leadership self-efficacy. So emotional intelligence is perceived as the ability to perceive, appraise, and express emotions accurately and appropriately. I'm using the terminology, the definition of Wong and Law. And for leadership self-efficacy, I'm using from Chen et al. That says an individual's belief in their own capability to perform leadership roles and tasks successfully. So this problem statement that I am putting it here, that when poor leadership effectiveness exists, you have so much of impact there, right from what you can see, unsuccessful organization, not competitive, less performance, less engagement, inability to embrace the IR4, a less skilled worker, and eventually unsuccessful organization. So when studying these three variables together, what we notice the problem in the past studies was for emotional intelligence and leadership effectiveness, they were mixed outcome actually, where quite a number of studies shows there is some they support this relationship there, but there are also some studies that did not find any relationship. So there is a mixed outcome on that. And definitely there's a paucity in the research in the local context and in general, and more so in the electronic sector. Similarly, for emotional intelligence and leadership self-efficacy, there are limited research as well. And there's also paucity in the research in the local context and in the electronic sector. And very importantly, leadership self-efficacy as a mediator itself is a very mixed outcome that it's been studied in the past, and definitely in malicious context, there's a paucity in the research as well. So therefore, the aim here is need to examine the emotional intelligence, leadership self-efficacy, and leadership effectiveness among professional groups of electronic manufacturing firms in Malaysia. Accordingly, the research questions, the research objective, and the hypothesis developed, as you can see in this slide. So research question number one is there a significant relationship between emotional intelligence and leadership effectiveness? Research question two is there a significant relationship between emotional intelligence and leadership self-efficacy? And research question three is, does LSC or leadership self-efficacy mediates the relationship between these two variables, which is emotional intelligence and leadership effectiveness? Accordingly, the research objective has been developed and the hypothesis has been developed, which reads out hypothesis one. It says there is a significant relationship between EI and LE, and the hypothesis two, there is a significant relationship between EI and LSC, and hypothesis three, LSC mediates the relationship between EI and LE. The scope of this study, we are focusing on the top most Malaysian electronic sector. That's primarily has been the directory is the AmCham, American Chambers, Malaysian Chambers. The sample that was collected was unit of analysis at individual level, the people, the professionals actually, and the criteria for selections of the electronic firms is they are the top and the highest sales. They have the highest sales, highest growth, and they have pioneering effort coming and establishing in Malaysia. So, and the people, the professional they were targeting are engineering, technical, support functions as well. For example, human resources, finance, and procurement, and others as well. So both, as long as they are professionals, so we are excluding the operator levels in the studies. The key important, the significance of the study is that they have two theoretical contribution. One is theoretical, one is practical. Theoretically, we want to see, we hope it will contribute to the knowledge in terms of advancing understanding about the effect of leadership practices on leadership effectiveness, and integrating of leadership leader-member exchange and social cognitive theory, where we want to see how much the leadership self-efficacy becomes a mediator in this framework as well. So that is from theoretical perspective. From practical perspective, we want to see the facilitation of relevant training programs and policies to enhance the leadership effectiveness, how to improve the productivity and support the IR4 initiative policy implementation in Malaysia. The underpinning theories, the first theory is leader-member exchange theory. Is rooted between the two relationship between leaders and followers. This literally explains the relationship between the emotional intelligence and the leader's perspective. It says that mindful leaders foster high quality relationship. Effective emotional regulation enhances perceptions of leadership effectiveness. And then the SCT, or social cognitive theory, talks about, from Bandura, is a belief of one's capability to regulate group processes towards goal achievement. Essentially, this explains the context about leaders with mindfulness develop a stronger belief in their capability to navigate challenges. When you see mindfulness, they are more mindful of their own emotions. So the emotional intelligence actually enables leaders to manage emotions authentically. So these were the two underpinning theories for this my study. This is how the conceptual framework looks like. So again, H1 shows that there is a significant relationship between EI and LE. H2 is there is a significant relationship between EI and LSE, and H3 shows that there is a significant relationship between there's a LSE mediates the relationship between EI and LE. So this is how the summary of the methodology that I put up for this study. It's a positivism paradigm. It's causal research. The approach will be in a quantitative. We're going to do a survey. Type of study is cross-sectional. Because of survey, we will do a cross-sectional. Unit of analysis, individual levels, not an organizational level. Individuals, but they are the population of professionals in electronics manufacturing companies in Malaysia. Sampling frame will be top 5. Sampling technique will be the random sampling approach. And then sample size, we will follow the Saunders, which is 380 over sample size. And the question will be in the 6-point Likert scale. I'm choosing Yuk and Woods for the leadership effectiveness, Wong and Law's for adaptation from Wong and Law for emotional intelligence, and LSC, leadership self-efficacy from Chen et al. The data that was analyzed, after sending to the population, the data was analyzed using SPSS for descriptive analysis. For the measurement model, to see the impact of to check on the hypothesis, we used PLS-SAM model. So the measurement model result shows we used the Cronbach alpha shows that it's a very highly reliable data that we had. For emotional intelligence, we use 11 items. Leadership self-efficacy, there was 8, and leadership effectiveness, there was 7. All of them shows a very high reliable data. The measurement model, the bootstrapping result, shows that the direct relationship, the direct impact of it, as you can read here, emotional intelligence has, shows the beta value of 0.339 and a t-value of 6.053, a p-value of below 0.01, which shows a significant relationship for EI and leadership effectiveness. For H2, it also supports the beta value shows 0.377, t-value is 6.555, and the p-value is still below 0.001. Accordingly, it meets the requirement with the bootstrapping results that shows that H2 is also supported, where emotional intelligence has a significant positive relationship with leadership self-efficacy. On the mediation effect, which is the indirect effect results, H3, whether as the beta value shows, it shows 0.050, p-value of 2.215, and the p-value is 0.027. So with this reading, it also shows that it has a mediation effect, even though it's not very strong, but it still have it supports the mediation role between, leadership self-efficacy is supported as a mediation role between emotional intelligence and leadership effectiveness. So with these findings, it has contributed to both the theories. For social cognitive theory, the finding that emotional intelligence enhances leadership effectiveness, partially through its influence on leadership confidence, executing leadership responsibility, supports SCT's proposition that self-efficacy beliefs are shaped by emotional competencies and subsequently influence behavior outcomes through enhanced motivation, persistence, and strategic thinking. And with LMX theory as well, traditionally, LMX theory has focused on characteristics and outcomes of leaders' follow-up relationship, with less attention to the personal attributes that enables the leaders to develop and maintain these exchanges. So the present study addresses this gap by demonstrating that emotional intelligence, although its enhancement of empathy, through the enhancements of empathy, social awareness, and emotional regulations, enables leaders to build the relation quality that is central to LMX theory. So these were critical to theoretical implication. And from a practical implication, this study shows that prioritizing emotional intelligence training is going to be very important. So, for example, self-awareness, how to create self-awareness, how to create the emotional regulation, how to empathize with others, how to have relationship management is going to be very important to be considered by organizations. And then HR also should design holistic leadership development, combining EI and self-efficacy as well. It is, it will be recommended to also to have emotionally intelligent, confident leaders to drive 4.0 transformation as well. So we need to relate in the manufacturing environment that this is an important skill. The recommendation implication will be, the practical implication will be, the integration of leadership self-efficacy development into programs is key as well. It aligns with the 4.0 policy, and it strengthens the competitiveness advantage of malicious electronic manufacturing sector. That's the finding, the implication of this finding. So as a conclusion, the insights shows that EI actually enhances leadership directly, directly as well and indirectly as well, with what we have seen earlier. So, however, the future recommendation is also suggested that because this was using cross-sectional design, in future the recommendation will be use longitudinal designs for cause and effect analysis in a range of time rather than one cross-sectional approach. And it should also explore moderators as well, not only the mediation role. And suggestion probably, if you're doing the mediation, is a sequential mediation. So that will be the recommendation that this study is designed to make, actually. When I say sequential mediation just now, is how much the EI, maybe helps to with the transformational leadership, and then eventually helps the efficacy of the leader, that eventually makes the leader to be more effective. So that is my last slide. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I'm humbled to have this opportunity to present in this particular conference. Thank you very much.